Okay, Q&A video. First question, getting right into it, is about tournament play. I will give my answer, but I play almost no tournaments. Most of the tournaments I do play are Bally's promotional tournaments, so I need to call in a tournament specialist. Okay, so the question is here on the screen. And listen, because this is the first time Herbs and Rye is hearing this question also. What do you think about tournaments that are 10-handed? I say 9-handed is pushing it. That's a question from Jared. I don't know exactly the direction he's going with this question. I've thought about this for a while because Jared left this comment weeks ago. I want Herbs and Rye to answer, and then I'll say where I think the question was, like, what aspect of the game this question was targeting. But here's Herbs and Rye, and again, what do you think about tournaments that are 10-handed? I say 9-handed is pushing it. Whatever that means to you. Answer it how you feel you need to.
Completely agree. I would be thrilled if even 8-handed was the max, but the less the better for me. I would make every tournament 6-handed if I could.
But what's the reason?
More room, and also you get to play more hands.
Okay. That's where I thought Jared was going. So I thought he was asking, because the thing is, in cash, you can be patient because the blinds aren't going up. In tournaments, it's a race against the blinds increasing. You don't really have a ton of time to be patient. So if there's more people at the table, say there's a lot of hands you would raise. Okay, well, there's a lot of people at the table. There's a lot of people often acting before action gets to you. So there's going to be a lot of hands that are raised before it's even your turn. So it's like, okay, I would raise these hands, but I don't really love calling raises with them. I don't really love 3-betting with them. I mean, your other option is folding. So you have like 3 subpar options, or it's like, oh, I like 3-betting this hand, but maybe 10 people at the table, it's raised and 3-bet before it's get to you. Same thing. You don't want to be calling 3-bets with that hand, and you don't want to be 4-betting with that hand. So the more people at the table kind of like handcuffs you in some circumstances. I have no idea, but that's what I thought he was asking about.
Oh, I was supposed to listen to you?
You weren't listening to any of that?
Not really. I thought you were just talking to the camera.
Alright. Producer didn't do his job, and the producer is me, if you're wondering.
I thought you said I was just supposed to answer the question, and I thought you were
The guy brags about, he claims, which I've seen, if he's asleep and you ask a question, he'll wake up for 2 seconds, answer it, then go back to sleep. That's how good his listening is. And now that he's awake and a foot away, he wasn't listening to me. This is outrageous.
I had aces.
Outrageous, I tell you. All right, next one from my room. Been walking all over Caesars, Harrah's, and the Link, trying to find spots where the music isn't interrupting me, and kind of ran out. So in my room now, and had to cut off a little bit of this so it fit on the screen more easily, but here it is. So I would think that winning at cash games got more difficult over time since the moneymaker effect in 2003. It would be interesting to hear your take on whether overall player strategy and tight play has progressed higher and higher over the years in general, or has that hourly rate and opponent toughness plateaued. So I will say I had this conversation with someone, I think it was 2017, about like hourlies decreasing, and imagine just like the player pool shrinks and the skill level increases, like what happens? And I was saying, like, I can't see everyone just breaking even. So imagine like the casinos are taking rakes, so they're making money. Ignore that. Ignore them as a player in this game. Just the players at the table, like the extreme is everyone's breaking even. There are no losing players, no winning players. Everyone's breaking even. I can't see it going that far. So I think like it gets more difficult to win, and winning players, like most win a little less, but I guess for you, kind of like maybe wins get a little less and then it kind of plateaus. So yeah, I don't see like long-term winning players ever becoming like long-term break-even players or long-term losing players. Like everyone's just like paying a little into the rake and just passing money around. Besides that, I'd say in terms of what strategy has looked like, say players have slightly gotten better. I'd say the biggest thing in the past like 5 to 10 years, players have gotten more aggressive. So imagine two players. Imagine one on this side of me, the like very common bad player from like 2013 and earlier. Hits like top pair, no kicker, and check calls his life away. Now imagine a bad player over here who's a maniac and is willing to get all in pre with ace-8. Okay? Neither is a great strategy. The thing is, when you add aggression, you're gonna win occasionally. Like the players from a long time ago who would just very rarely have the lead, very rarely raise, and play way too many hands. It was very passive, and they were often like, it wasn't a very large amount of hands that they won, and when they did, it was small. It was small amounts. Now, people who are raising, and I said ace-8 because I've been seeing way more people than usual raising like ace-8 under the gun, which you need to be a world-class player to turn a profit on that. I'm not saying if you ever raised ace-8 suited under the gun in your life, you're a losing player. But if you just looked at the hands, forget every other hand you ever played in your life. If you just looked at the hands where you're dealt ace-8 suited under the gun and coming for a raise, probably not profitable, the sum of all those hands. Very difficult to pull off winning that hand in that position. But seeing a lot of people do it lately. So when you do that, then maybe you get 3-bet and then maybe you 4-bet all in with that hand. For one, you're gonna get hands like 9s, 10s, jacks, even queens in Vegas sometimes to fold. Okay, that works out for you. It doesn't work out if you play the hand incredibly passively. Also, sometimes you get called by kings and you hit an ace and you win. You're like, the added aggression is giving a lot of players like this volatility. Volatility for consistent winning players is like a bad thing because your graph is just consistently winnings. And you add volatility and now there are like steep downswings mixed in with it. For like losing and break even players, volatility is a good thing because they're just consistently breaking even or like consistently losing. And when you add volatility to that, there are spikes up when they get all in with a hand pre-flop like ace-8 against kings and hit. That volatility helps them. So yeah, I'd say players, a very small amount have gotten better, but the most common thing is that they've gotten more aggressive. So the aggression without a lot of the like technical like fundamentals improving has helped. So there's my take on those like 1 or 2 questions in there. Now to something slightly different. And this video is going to be half Q&A, half helpful comments, because when I do a full video on helpful, clarifying, correcting comments, they're not totally popular. They're not like very, very popular, but those people do deserve to get some recognition for correcting me or asking me to be a little more exhaustive. So I'm going to read this first one, although I need to demonstrate it in my room. Reading the first one here. On the first point, I use a $1 chip as a card protector. If I win the hand without showdown, the chip stays on the cards to tip the dealer as I muck. Is this a problem too, or just folding with chips that are part of the pot? This was in a dealer pet peeves video where a dealer said when people fold with their chips on the cards, it's really annoying. Okay, there's a big difference between the hand being over. So let me just get 2 cards off the deck. So the hand's over, and someone who didn't need to show leaves a tip on the chip, leaves a chip for the tip on the cards and slides the cards towards the dealer. When the hand's over, the dealer has both hands free, not a big deal. Take the tip, get the cards into the pile for the next hand. It's a lot different when the hand is still going on. That's why I was saying when usually someone in the small blind, I mean this is a $5 chip, but just pretend it's a 1. Someone in the small blind, and let's say, you know, I'm dealing lefty, so the deck is in my right hand. Someone in the small, especially on the half of the table where the dealer, if the dealer's dealing lefty, the deck is in the dealer's right hand, so the right half of the table is going to be much more annoying for this. So the person folds the small blind, we're pretending this is a $1 chip, and now I need to get the chip separate from the cards with this hand, which can't let go of the deck. Now, what a lot of dealers do, which I don't care for, they roll the deck. You're not supposed to do this because you could expose cards. I've seen cards exposed like this. They roll the deck, so the deck's upside down, and now they can kind of use the tips of their fingers, and it makes it a little easier. But if you're not gonna roll the deck, you just have like the edge of your hand that's holding the deck, where, you know, there's not a lot of dexterity here. So now you have two cards and one chip in a stack, and you just have like the edge of your palm to kind of like separate them and get everything separate. That's why it's annoying, because the hand is still going on and the deck hand is still in use. All right, one more clarifying comment. Hope no one comes in here, by the way. Hope no one comes in here, by the way. This would be very weird in the ice/vending room right now. Here we go. Video just went up recently. 150 cumulative across all MGM rooms combined. I thought each room logged the hours separately. This is about MGM status. 150 hours in the last 12 months gets you gold status. 75 gets you pearl, but most people want gold for the no resort fees. I've heard of people going to a floor and asking, how many hours do I have? And the floor will only tell you from that room. If you're asking in Bellagio, the floor will only tell you in Bellagio, for example. But I've heard of plenty of people who ask, and the floor first checks just that room, and then is willing to add up that room plus the other 3 MGM property poker rooms in Vegas. So I think if you're a regular and polite when you ask, and polite, not a regular, but if you're polite and you ask the right floor person, it's not that the floor people will get in trouble for adding it all up, but I think it's like an extra thing that they often do for the friendly, polite players. Although I've heard of, on rare occasion, some floor people not doing it. I remember back in the day when, in 2016, when paid parking got implemented, Trooper, I think in Aria, said like, how many hours do I have? Because you needed a certain amount for Pearl for free parking. And he didn't have enough just in there, but the floor added up his Bellagio hours also. And summed, he had enough hours for Pearl for free parking. So I think if you're polite, most floor people will add up all 4. They're allowed to do it, they're able to do it. I've heard anecdotally plenty of times that they do it. And remember, rice is a spoon food.